Hey there, REM-PCs. Welcome to another episode of Rules of Cool, where we interview very special guests, creators, gamers, designers, and world builders. I'm your host, Rem, and today we're going to chat with a beloved convention vendor. It's hard to say. Cassi from Pure Alchemy Soaps. Many of you have had a character set made by Cassi at your favorite convention, and now she's expanding to gelatinous cube soaps with dice sets inside. So you won't want to miss this. This week's giveaway is a customized character set of soap from Pure Alchemy Soaps. So what that means is you can choose your favorite character, choose their alignment, race, and class, and have a soap set with each of those soaps available. So my Shayloon on Sunday nights is a lawful good gnome wizard, and I love the set that Cassi made for me. So for your chance to customize your own soap kit for your character, type in hashtag REMPC in the chat for your free entry to win. And you can get bonus entries by going to remalternus.com/nuyen or patreon.com/remalternus. Your support helps us also pay our cast and crew, so we greatly appreciate it. Now, we have some news in the Rem Alternus world. So first, Coddlesworth's Clockwork Circus, issue 2 of the Steampunk Fantasy graphic series is still live on Kickstarter and getting closer and closer to its goal. So help us get there by heading to remalternus.com/kick. And you can get your free copy of issue 1 by heading on over to Drive Through Comics and pay what you want, which includes free. Just leave us a review if you're up to it. Now, second, we have another Kickstarter that is launching next week with previous guests Mobius World Publishing, formerly Evil Beagle Games. They are launching a new supplement for Prowlers and Paragons, which we played during our last one-shot show. It's called Nocturne by Night, but I like to call it the Oops All Villains supplement. The link to the Kickstarter pre-launch page is going to be popping up in the chat, so give it a follow. And finally, we at REM are excited to announce, and we've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, that we're officially partnered with Catalyst Game Labs to run their next Shadowrun Kickstarter, Shadowrun Edge Zone, the upgradable card game. We are so excited for this opportunity since we love Shadowrun so dearly. Check out the pre-launch page and follow the project as soon as the announcement goes live on Catalyst's many social media platforms and also the Rem Alternus platforms. And the Kickstarter officially launches September 20th. Now, let's get right into our conversation for this week. So stay tuned, REM-PCs. Hey everyone, welcome back, and let me introduce you to my friend Cassi, who's the head alchemist at Pure Alchemy Soaps. Hi, Cassi.
Hi, it's great to be here.
It's great to have you on. Cassie's been a good friend of mine for several years now, since 2019 Origins, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, because I met you the same weekend I met my someday husband.
I know. I was there when it happened.
She wrote me a letter of support for my permanent residency too. So tears. So I'm crazy about Cassi, and I'm crazy about what Cassi does. So I'm excited to get into this. But first, I kind of want a little background on you, Cassi. So
Right.
What is your history as a gamer?
Okay, all right. So my first game ever, I was in high school, and my brother had been playing Dungeons and Dragons with one of his friends, and he's my younger brother, and like we were all friends anyway, and I was like, I want to be a part of something too, gosh. And so I went over to their house, my friend Brad's house. His grandfather ran us a game of Dungeons and Dragons. My first character ever was totally like, standard first character, halfling rogue, and it was so much fun. I had a blast doing it, and then later on, I think it was Brad or Brad's brother started running the game for us once the grandfather decided that he needed a break from, essentially like wrangling 6 teenagers. So, but yeah, but since then, yeah, it was fun.
I love how you bring up that your first character is the obviously a halfling rogue, and it's like our first characters are always who we identify ourselves as. Like I think
Yeah,
I was whether or not we're right or wrong, I think my
yeah,
first character was an elf ranger, and I'm like so not outdoorsy anymore.
yeah. Like, well, the barbarian was already taken, and there was a cleric in the party. I didn't really want to do magic, so I was like, I don't really want to be a fighter, because I think my brother was either the fighter or the barbarian at the time, one of the two. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll be the rogue. I can be sneaky and do stuff. So that's how it
Awesome.
started. And then it kind of tapered into playing like online video games for a while, through college, because I didn't really have like a D&D or a role-playing group. So I just kind of played Neverwinter Nights like on every classing character for 2 or 3 years straight. Made my own little dungeons too. I don't even, they don't exist anymore, but Neverwinter Nights, you could actually do that, with the level builder thing. And then once I came back from university, I joined another group that my brother was a part of, which also happened to be run by my future husband. So it's pretty great. Yeah.
Look, we've come full circle.
Right,
Meeting of the husbands already in the first 9 minutes of the show.
right. So, but yeah, so I've been playing for over 20 years now. And like it's essentially been a part of my life actively, for maybe the last, really since 2011, 2010, I would say. So the past like 12 years now, I've been, really addicted to the role-playing experience. And so whenever I have a chance to play, I do. My husband and I run a gaming Discord server, based on, a lot of people that I meet at conventions too. So, we're big advocates on getting people into the role-playing experience. And so, I've kind of moved, transitioned from gamer to dungeon master to organizer, to kind of get more people involved, kind of, a little bit like what you're doing at REM. So, except more
Yeah.
more low key and very unprofessional.
Well, I was able to stream with you guys before Rem Alternus even existed. So that was really cool being able to join you guys and play some Deadlands and become part of your community as well.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
So speaking of, so you kind of told how you came back and back and back to D&D with your brother. But that's kind of
Yeah.
grown in terms of the games that you're involved in now, because gosh, I remember being on a call with you guys about like, hey, what do you want to run on Rem Alternus' server? And I think you guys gave me a list of like 55 plus games that you guys are
Yeah.
interested in. So what are your top favorite role-playing games now?
Oh man. Okay. So, my go-to favorite experience has been, essentially our modified Pathfinder game, like the 3.75 D&D. That's been like, something that we've, essentially grew up playing. And so that's like always going to be in my heart, no matter what. It's really fun. But some of my favorite games, other like role-playing systems out there. The first one I really go to is more of a setting than a system, is Iron Kingdoms. It's a setting that is published by Privateer Press. Like earlier this year, they actually funded a Kickstarter to transition all of their world building into a 5th edition, game system, which
Cool.
I think is great for their accessibility, because their world building is something that I aspire to. It's so good.
Oh,
It is so good. But additionally, moving away from like, I guess, the fantasy-esque role-playing, Shadowrun is definitely one of my top favorites as well. Like, I think that was one of the things that we kind of bonded over when we first really got to talk and hang out. And then the other one that I really love doing is the old Marvel role-playing game. It's the FOSRIP system, and it was stupid fun because we made it. If anybody is not familiar with it, the old Marvel role-playing game was a percentile-based game, and on top of that, you randomly generated your character using percentile dice. Going through like your stats, your powers, how, and then as you're rolling these, you are also kind of inventing how your character became this, superhero kind of thing. But whenever we played, it was we made a world called Earth 404. As Marvel universes, they are like they have the numbers afterwards and stuff, and so we're like, well, we're going to make Earth 404 where literally everyone and their grandma's dog has some form of like superpowers. And so it was also inspired by a TV show, a British TV show that only has like 6 episodes called No Heroics, where everybody is a superhero. Well, there's like superheroes are normal, and they're trying to break into like the top 10 superheroes. You want to move from like your C list to your B list to your A list superheroes. Like that's the whole idea of that show. And so we kind of took that and turned it into everybody is rolling C-list superhero characters, and you hang out at a bar called, I think it was like the Fortress or something, can't remember, but it was really darn weird, and you had to kind of navigate life as like a C-list superhero. But it's the other, and that's based off of, like I said, the Marvel role-playing system. Some of the other systems that I think that I've kind of looked at and I really like are some of the newer ones too. Like I played Night Witches, which is, I think they use the oh man, now I can't remember the it begins with an A, like the system. It's really popular. Apocalypse. Yeah.
Powered by the Apocalypse. Yeah.
Yeah. So I played that once. It was drama filled and amazing. It's essentially a game where you're playing the Night Witches. It was an airborne division of Russia during World War II. And so you play as these women, trying to navigate like a lot of different kind of relationships, also trying to avoid getting, sent to a gulag in communist Russia, which is like, very dangerous. It's a very dangerous situation on top of, the war that's happening that you're a part of. And then another one that I've played that I want to play, it's called No Country for Old Kobolds. It's just like a really small little thin book, and it's literally you're playing kobolds, you're like playing minions, that you're trying to live through minion life. But yeah, so I have a lot of games that I've played. Most of the ones that we've played for ourselves have been a lot of homebrew worlds. Like we have the Magic Shop, where you play magic item repo men. So your shop is like an interdimensional traveling shop, and it goes where it needs to, renting high-end magic items and artifacts that you can't find anywhere else. And if the people who rent them out don't return them or renew their contract, then you have to go out as a retriever to retrieve said items or payment.
That's awesome.
And hilarity ensues. We've made
cool.
So we've made like a bunch of ones that can use any system, but yeah, we come up with a lot of weird stories.
That's awesome. And like I said, Cassie, you've got like this encyclopedic knowledge of games that you're interested in and have fun with, and I love that to pieces. So covering your passion for gaming, how did you get into soap making?
Oh, so yeah, one of the games that we have played It's another brew world building that my husband initially started, and I've been working on with him now for the past 12 years actually. Is called the Bridge World, where the premise of the setting is that a world was shattered eons ago in a god's war, and the mortals that managed to survive were able to piece back the world or keep it from breaking apart further with building massive bridges. So imagine like a bridge that's 20, 30 miles long, wide enough to
wow.
have like an entire city built upon.
Wow.
So that's kind of like where we really made this really cool concept of how to put together those things. But Max, my husband, started it, and I played a character in there, a gnome alchemist named Adana Volmera, and she was kind of honestly the inspiration for me to make soap in the first place, because Christmas time was coming up, and I had decided that I wanted to do something kind of different for my gift giving. And
Aw.
yeah, and so I was like, well, what can I do? And then I had seen another video from somewhere that I can't remember now, but they were like doing the process of making soap stuff, and I was like, oh, soapmaking, oh, that's kind of like alchemy. I'm gonna do that. And so I learned how to make it the quote unquote old fashioned way. There's a couple different ways to do it. The easiest way and most accessible way for people to get started is a melt and pour, which basically you have soap that's pre-made and you can melt it down and pour it into molds and have it look however you want. I didn't want to
Cool.
do that because I'm a complicated person. So let's make things complicated, right? And so I used what's called a cold process method, where you have your base oils like coconut oil, olive oil, other things, shea butter, things like that, where you melt it all down so it's liquid, and then you use a lye, which is like a strong base. If you
Mhm.
remember your chemistry, acids and bases, that it's the base. It's a sodium hydroxide, and so you dissolve that in water, and then you combine those two things together, mix them up a lot until it starts to form into its like batter / going solid, and so that chemical reaction is called saponification. And
Ooh.
that is the reaction where the essentially the lye is bonding with the fats in the oils to create the soap, which is a salt byproduct. So yeah.
Huh. We all learned something. Well, at least I did. Science, rules
Right.
of cool. That's so exciting.
But yeah,
Uh,
so I did that. That's what I started with because I wanted to make gifts for all of my friends, my players, and everything. And people liked it a lot, and I was like, well, I kind of want to do more. And so I found groups where you can to learn more about like how to improve, and then also for like soap swaps where people will be like, I'm making this soap, and then whoever is being a part of the soap swap, everybody sends each other all of the different soaps they made, so at the end of it you have like a dozen other soaps that other people have made that you get to use,
oh, neat.
and then like geek out on about their process and stuff. So and then after that I was like, I really like this and people really like what I'm doing, maybe I'll try to sell it, question mark. And so that's kind of where I started, was just doing like soaps at craft shows and farmers markets and art walks and stuff like that. That's when I started doing that in I think at the end of 2011.
You were
And then yeah.
telling me you were telling me that it's really, especially recently, been growing
Yeah.
between um the conventions lately and your Etsy store, right?
Yeah. So I at the end of towards the middle of 2018, I was getting really frankly burnt out on what I had been doing before. and I had I had like a moment where I don't know if I can really do like craft shows anymore or anything. So, like the outside events, especially in Florida, are really hot, and like, and the traffic is not always your friend.
Yeah.
And there's also like 4 to 6 other people selling soap there, and so it's like one of those things where I didn't really feel like I could really maintain what I was doing. And then my friend in Australia was like, "Well, hey, why don't you just make D&D soap?" And I'm like, "I don't know why I never and thought of that." And so I spent the last half of 2018 essentially rebranding my entire business and coming up with the concepts because I didn't want to just sell soap anymore. And so I just like, I can make soap and have it be like Ranger or whatever, but I wanted it to be more. And so
Mhm.
that coming up with the idea of character creation, because people's characters, are very near and dear to them. Like, people really connect with their characters and they connect with their friends or other people through their characters. And so they mean a lot, to a lot of people. And so I
So
wanted to kind of do that.
speaking of that, like,
Yeah.
can we, because you've got this kind of combines into my next question,
Yeah.
but in a more like hands-on way. So like my question was like, what's your secret to success for being profitable at conventions? But I think like your secret really is like this pitch of like identifying this character that's near and dear to their hearts. So like, can we maybe like think about Curie from Shadowrun, but like if she was a D&D character, can we talk about what soap set you would build for me?
Yeah. So we'll go through a little bit too. So one of the things that I find really important about being successful at a convention, um, especially if you're a vendor, you know, don't you're not really selling a product when people come to your table. Of course, you are selling a product, but going in with the mindset that you're not selling a product, you're selling an experience. I think is very important to the kind of people you attract and how easy it is for you to take their money. you know, uh, so I think that like when you're doing that and engaging with somebody to really you're connecting with somebody instead of saying, oh, here's my stuff, if you like something, buy it. Whereas, hey, what kinds of things do you like? Oh my gosh, bond over this one thing that we are both like, in touch with. And it could be anything from like your animes, because like a lot of artists out there draw their animes, get in touch, talk to people about them. With me, I'm like, tell me about your favorite character. And then, and then we get to connect, they get to share stories about them. And I think that honestly is one of the main reasons why I continue to have success at conventions. So with that being said, tell me more about your Shadowrun character.
So my Shadowrun character is kind of cold and distant and in survival mode. So she needs to just like make money to keep, basically she's on the run, um, to keep moving from place to place or find a place that's safe enough for her to like actually settle down somewhere.
Okay. And did you say that you were that your character is an elf?
I know she's human.
Human. Okay. So normally, if we were, I feel like we would definitely transition away from the normal human fragrance. That one is a spiced apple cider and a fresh baked bread. So on a fantasy setting, that's kind of more of like a homey, taverny kind of feel. But I think for your character, kind of going out into, being more of a hidden, or like kind of like being a little more street, so to speak. I
Mm-hmm.
think that there's a couple different ones that I would say. There's one that I have that's like a really nice smoky sandalwood, so it's like a deeper fragrance that I think might be, not really dirty, but something that is definitely a little darker as far as
Yeah.
that fragrance goes.
Yeah, and even like surviving, or it gives you that sense of surviving around a fire or something like
Yeah,
that with that smokiness. Cool.
yeah. And so your character in Shadowrun, you have your deckers, you have your riggers. What kind of class or aspect are you building your skills around?
She's a mage and she's hermetic, so
Okay.
very sciencey, very wizardy.
Awesome. So I do have the wizard soap, and that is based off of a Nag Champa incense, but so that could work really well. But I'm thinking that maybe because you're dealing more with some like science-based kind of like really kind of dealing it with the science of magic, the alchemist might be a better fit for the theme of your character. And that one is it's a juniper, pear, redwood, and ginger. So it's got like a nice sharp, it's got a little sweet, it's got a little woodsy. So it's kind of like an amalgam of a few different things that really kind of come together, from different aspects of magical thought. So your alchemists really are like your your science magicians, really, when you think about it. And so if that's kind of where your mage is going, then that would probably be a better fit for your character.
Cool.
And then as far as like an alignment, so the way that we think of our alignments, your good characters are more selfless. They put the needs of others above their own. You've got your evil characters, which are more selfish. They put the needs of their own needs and desires above the needs of others. And then so you have also your good characters. You've got essentially they are more about order, following the laws of the land, maybe their own personal moral code, but it is very rigid in mentality. You want to keep everything together. Whereas your chaotic characters, they're more about freedom of choice in the moment, making things that so that fits a situation. And even if it's the same situation identically, they might still make a different choice. And so those are the kind of things that you would think about with your alignments. And so
Yeah, I think with her, it's a little complicated because she's definitely like it definitely appears to be more on the selfish side. Like it's the survival. Like if I can't survive and make money, I'm not doing it, kind of thing. But at the same time, like that's happened because of her past experiences, and like when down to the wire, like if she sees someone in trouble, it's hard for her to walk away from that, especially if it's like another woman that can't stand up for herself, kind of thing. So, but definitely control, like you were saying.
So I would probably say more about leaning towards the lawful side. I don't think any shadow runner is lawful good, quite frankly. So we're just going to push that off to the side and just not look at it. It's just not there.
Yeah.
let's be real here. But I don't really see your character as being the lawful evil either. When I think of lawful evil, I think of like Dolores Umbridge. Like she's will bend the rules to suit her needs no matter what. And so the lawful neutral is most likely going to be what kind of fits your character, either lawful neutral or even true neutral. But I would definitely stay away from the chaotics.
Yeah, I agree. I think probably you're right. It's more like lawful neutral because she does have a code, but the code is her own. So she does follow a code, which is like lawful, but she's lawful to herself, kind of. So I'd agree lawful neutral.
Yeah. Great. So we can put those 3 soaps together in a set and you can take home your character today. Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, you're good. You're good. Yes.
Yeah. And that's how you sell a character to somebody. Except most of the time, I wouldn't even ask, are you ready? I'll be like, let's take home your character.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, so that's like the process of talking, especially talking to somebody who Dungeons and Dragons is not their go-to game. And so one of the things that I do at my table, because I want to accommodate everybody, so I do custom relabeling. We talk about like how to really fit a character into the game that you're playing. So I've made I've made Shadowrun characters, I've made Star Wars characters, I've made Power Ranger characters, I've made anime characters, so it's really fun to like get to geek out with people, not just about Dungeons and Dragons, but tabletop role playing. And so that's one of one of the main reasons why I have way too much fun at conventions.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's awesome. And talking to our wonderful tech here, Tom, if it's possible, maybe we could drop that informal commercial that I made for Cassie into one of our commercial breaks if you have time. No pressure if you don't. But it shows actually one of these character sets that I made for Shayloon, who's my Sunday D&D character for Steampunk Fantasy. Um, and like it's kind of the box opening, so you can kind of see it and what it looks like and see that experience. So really cool, Cassie. Love those sets, and you do a variety of other products. Can you tell us more about what else is available?
Yeah, so I'll show you because I have one here. So this is like the set that we have. So this is actually a character called Darren Blackhammer. I like him a lot. I've never played him. I just, sometimes I'm one of those people that just makes characters. But it's a lawful evil dwarf paladin. And I'm saving that one for an evil game. I don't know, but this is how I also write out the character's name. So I always write out that's the other thing that I like to do. I know it's backwards on the thing, but that's fine.
It's forwards for me.
Yeah, it's forwards for you. That's but that's another way to just like finish off the set is like having the character's name too. So it's fully customizable.
That's so cool.
I also make liquid soaps. So I do a Castile soap, which is like really gentle. It's olive oil, coconut oil, and castor oil. And then I use, where I said sodium hydroxide for like the bar soaps, uses the same principle, except it's a different one. It's a potassium hydroxide, and that makes a really thick paste that you then dilute down into the liquid soap. And then I also, I have a few left, and these are the ones that I only sell at conventions because I don't have a large stock. I have some alignment themed car air fresheners. I actually one of my really good friends, their business is making car fresheners. That's all they do.
Ooh.
And so I was like, hey, could you, for Origins, because that's what I wanted them for, can you just like, I'll send you my fragrance oils. Can you make some alignment ones for me? And so she like crushed it. It was great. And so I have some left. It was kind of just like a one-off, like for funsies kind of thing. And then so I have some of those. If you're in one of the conventions that I'm going to, I've got some for you. But I also do.
So excited to have an exclusive then. I didn't even know that when I got it.
And then another convention only thing that I do is mystery packages. So the mystery packages that I make, they are actually themed around with my character that I've played, my gnome alchemist. And so they have 3 sample bars of soap and 4 stories from Idana, our fantasy alchemist. So they come in like nice little brown paper package. There's a letter on the outside. So you have like the introductory letter from her, and then each soap is wrapped in a story about where she found her rare ingredients and what they're used for in her world. Those might go online. Typically, what they are really, whenever I get new fragrance oils, I do test batches to make sure that they're going to work well, and the ones that are good, that are successful, I cut them into the little sample bars, so and then put them all into the mystery packages, so that way I can keep using everything versus like just having random test batch soap sitting off somewhere not doing anything.
I love that. And you had sent me some once in a box, and so it was so fun like unwrapping it when I was taking a bath, and then like having this story, and all of a sudden like I'm in this fantasy world in my brain, and like it's so cool.
And that is all in character in the Bridge World setting. So that's all like
Cool.
lore from our Bridge World game, which is super fun. And then I also do hand sanitizers. Those I can only sell at conventions. After the 2020 really cracked down, a lot of like the because what unfortunately was happening was people were making their own and not doing it in accordance to like FDA guidelines, and so I pre-order my base because I don't want to go through that. And then I add in my own fragrances and everything. So I call and bottle those, like package them. Yeah, because I don't want the FDA coming to my house, you know. But so I'd repackage those as essentially prevent disease potions, and so I sell those
Love
at
that.
conventions. Yeah, it's fun. Everything that I do is I put as nerdy a twist on as I can. Like the liquid soaps, those are my liquid soap potions. So you have like a haste potion, which is like a citrus blend. The restoration potions like a lavender and vanilla. I've got a bark skin potion now, which is like a cedar and saffron. The mana potion is Nag Champa incense. It's so good. And then I have a health potion, which is a spearmint and eucalyptus. So I theme those around like the different kind of potions you get from like your video games to your tabletop games.
That's awesome. Love it. I love all of those, and all can be found on Cassie's Etsy, which we'll make sure is dropped in the chat. But I have been talking to you way too long about all the cool things you do when we're here to talk about one specific product that is brand new.
Yes.
So tell us about your Kickstarter.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. I'm gonna paste that real quick. That's my Etsy shop.
Awesome. Thank you. And then you can find this Kickstarter right now at realmalternus.com/soap. So check that out while Cassie's telling us all about it.
Okay. So, I had the idea for this last year, and then I kind of set it aside. And then earlier this year, I did super great at Origins. I was really excited. I got to, catch up with Sarah and be like, oh, hey, you're doing Kickstarters now? Do you want to do my Kickstarter for me? Because I'm busy. So these is a gelatinous cube jelly soap. I'm going to take it out of the packaging so you can see it better. They have little dice. This is one of my first test batches. So this was when I couldn't get the dice to be more in the center of the thing. So they're kind of like stuck on the outside of the thing. But here we go. We're going to.
Oh, look at that squooginess. It's squooging out of the box.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pop these out. So the dice in this one, here, I'll see if I can hold them up properly, are a miniature dice set. This is what I call the regulation sized gelatinous cube. And this nice and oh my god, so jiggly. It is actually I call it regulation sized cube because it is fits on your 10x10 battle maps. So it fits in the 10x10 squares. You can like shift it around on your table. It's super fun. But they're gonna have
stupid cool. I love it.
But yeah, so this is what we do. This is the, like I said, the regulation sized cube. And
the
then
mini you don't have to paint and a soap all in one.
Yeah. I have been playing around with them quite a bit, testing them out, seeing how well they hold together. Like I've got one by my sink that just is kind of there and I use it, and it's been like I've been using it for the past month or so, and it's still like it's holding its shape really good. So even if you just decide to like scooch it around on your on your maps, it'll clean up your maps too once you're done with all of the ink and stuff. But then there's this one, which is
there's another one.
The Dyer gelatinous cube. Has a full size set of dice in it.
That's a chonker.
These little miniature dice. Yeah, so here's the difference in size.
Ooh.
So this is a 2.5 cube. And this one is about 8 ounces or so. This one is about 4 ounces. And so it's twice the size, twice the power. All of the goo that you could possibly hope for. So yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, look at you. Even if you dig in there, it holds up.
Yeah. So it's a pretty sturdy little cube. I can like stick my fingers around and pinch it pretty good, and it still just pops right back into shape. And
Neat.
so I've gotten to where the dice will actually be closer to the center, which is exciting. So that way they'll stay in there a little easier. But even if you want to take the dice out, I have ripped dice out of the larger cube and the smaller cube, and then just kind of let it do whatever to see if it was going to fall apart. And surprisingly, it did not. And I was so excited about it because I was honestly not sure if it was going to do that or not. So I was like, oh,
that's so cool.
It works. So that was a success.
Neat. The fact that you can kind of beat them up, yeah, I think is really nice as an effect. So it's not just like, oh, it's a cube right when you get it. Look how kitschy, kind of thing. You use it once and it falls apart. I love that it holds up. That's really neat.
Yeah, and it's the elasticity is fantastic. And I'm hopeful that we can get enough backers to fund this for because that way like I can get everything that I need right at the get-go, and then I'll be able to move forward to having these in production all the time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the goal of the Kickstarter. Number one, to get them out to more people who aren't at my conventions, so more people have an opportunity to get them right off the bat. But also so it can be sustainable for me to continue to use this in my product line. So that's the end goal, is for it to be a sustainable product, and to have everybody enjoy it.
I'm so excited about this Kickstarter. We're doing a lot of them right now, and I can't pick favorites, but like it's so neat because you see a lot of Kickstarters that are games or dice, or it's a board game, or it's an RPG, or it's a supplement to one of those. But like you don't really get that sense on Kickstarter of like the vendor hall is here in front of you, and you can get something really cool that's like your fantasy role-playing jam that you can have in your house, that holds up a while. So I love that this kind of brings that to Kickstarter, and you can get something that's just cool and different than everything else that you're used to finding on Kickstarter.
Yeah, and because I personally like to try to find unique ways to clean people up. But like I've worked really hard to kind of do things that are, number one, tailored to gamers, number two, that you can't find anywhere else. And so I do that to I have seen other people make really beautiful gelatinous cube soaps, but they're a melt and pour base, and so you still get the nice translucent because it's a melt and pour soap, which is like I mentioned before, it's the ones that you can just buy the block, cut it up, melt it down, and then pour it into molds. And of course they have a really great longevity as well because they are a solid soap.
Right.
But I didn't want to just do that. I wanted to have something that was a little more on brand for what I do. And so you have like I mentioned, you come to my table, you have an experience with where we talk about characters and role playing and everything, but then you come to my table and you get one of these. Like, not only is it a soap, but it can also be a miniature in your games. And so that's something that I kind of like think about with like multi-use of options, that like have a like I'm really looking forward to the day where when I sell these at conventions, then having people come back a year later to tell them to tell me how they used those in their games, like how they rammed somebody's miniature into the gelatinous cube and it stayed there for like those are the, like, I'm really looking forward to having that bonding experience again when we're talking about like weird, silly stuff that
Well,
that people have done. So
I love that, and you know, you just mentioned too, like being able to have one for everyone at your table, and that's what I love about how you set up the rewards too. So you can get the 2x2, which fits perfectly on your map. You've got your
yep,
2.5 by 2.5 by 2.5. That is like if you're fighting a bunch of oozes and this is your big bad guy, you could do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But then also you do quantities that you can get as well. So like if you did want to get them for your gaming table for the holidays or something like that, because you said you were going to ship before in early December.
yeah. So that's the plan. I don't know if I said it on, like, if we talked about it before, but that's
Oh,
the plan. So no,
I
you're
just
good.
spoiled it for you.
Surprise! Spoiler! No, actually, it's good. It's good to say, but yeah. So for what we're doing, since it's going to be closing out at the end of September, I'll have all of October and November to really put into full production mode to make sure that I
Cool.
can get all of the gelatinous cubes made. So the goal is to have everything made within the first 6 weeks, so October through to mid-November, then get everything packaged, like, and packaging up as I go, so that way at before the beginning of September, no, what is the last month of the year? December. Sorry, don't worry about me. I'll be here figuring out how time works. Um, but yeah, at the beginning of December is my shipping date to get everything out. So if you have
Cool.
like gift giving for holidays, and or just want to have some cool things at the end of the year, then that's when you'll get it.
Now, the as we're running kind of a little bit low on time, I do
Oh,
want to
yeah.
touch quickly on the stretch goals as well, which
Yeah.
I'm personally excited about. And this is part of why we set the goal to 5,000. Like, really ideally, like to pay everything off we want to pay off, it would be
Yeah.
closer to 10. But we wanted to get to the stretch goals. Can you talk a little bit about what's going to be available at
Yeah.
for those stretch goals?
Yeah. So we're doing stretch goals that pretty much like $500 intervals. So they're gonna be adding in more colors and fragrances. Because like I have to be able to get in the fragrance oils. They're not cheap. Oh my gosh, that's like the most expensive part of making soap, actually.
Cool.
but um with the stretch goals, I'll be able to get in additional colors and fragrances. So the next one would be a clear blue, like a crystal blue jelly with that's going to have a blueberry and thyme, so it'll be like a sweet and savory kind of like smell, a fragrance. Then I'm
That's the color of the one that's actually in the book, right? The
Yeah,
light
that's the
blue?
one that's actually in the book as well. So yeah, so that's the
Neat.
one that that you saw in the preview
The
trailer.
D&D
That's the word,
trailer?
the D&D trailer. So yeah, so I'm
Awesome.
excited about that. I really want to be able to get that one out too. And then I also have a black pudding jelly that is going to be, it's a shiny black with mica sparkles in it, so it's like very shimmery and fun to play with. Then I have like a crystal red jelly that I'm planning on doing like a kind of like a hot tamale, red hot cinnamon kind of
Ooh.
fragrance with, that I think will be really fun. And then the last
I
one that I have in right now, and so it'd be like 5,500, 6,000, 6,500, and the 7,000 is a metallic purple that
ooh.
is going to be probably like a lavender-esque blend.
Ooh.
I don't know exactly what I'm going to blend it with yet, because I generally like to make all of my fragrances have more than one note to them. So it might be a little bit of a vanilla. It might be something else. I don't know for sure yet, but I am working on those blends right now. I actually have like tiny little vials that I do all of my sample blend, like scent blending in first, before then I make a larger sample to do in test batches and stuff. So that's what I'm doing right now to get all of the things prepared. I kind of have some thoughts on if we do like super stupid well, to make like a silver jelly and like a gold jelly and like a platinum jelly. I don't know yet. I'm just throwing those out because like those are just things that popped into my head the other day. I'm like, that would be pretty cool if we do super awesome.
Awesome.
So there might be more stretch goals after those 4.
Awesome.
Which I hope we get to, because that would be super awesome.
Me too. So head over right now to remalternus.com/soap. We made it as easy as we could, and make your pledge. Get some for your whole table. Again, the sooner we can fund, the sooner we get to these fun stretch goals, and then you'll be able to pick whatever color you like, and mix and match the fragrances and stuff like that with your set. So
there is one other goal that it's not a goal. It's one other tier option. So if you have a lot of disposable income and you want something super, super crazy ass unique, then it'll be gelatinous cubes of any color and fragrance that you want. I'd work with you to make custom fragrances for your gelatinous cubes, because it would be cool. Then a custom miniature that would be of your adventurer that's going to go on an adventure to take out a horde of dire gelatinous cubes, and an art piece of your character, in the middle of combat with maybe your adventuring party, maybe by yourself if you want to hoard all the XP for you, of all of the gelatinous cubes. And then I have a friend. It's not actually on the description, but I have a friend who is also willing to make me a custom set of gelatinous cube dice. So like dice that are themed around gelatinous cubes. They do handmade resin poured dice. They're absolutely gorgeous. And so that'll be another thing that goes into that top tier, the Lord of all jellies. So
that's awesome.
Anyway,
so again, back now, help support, reach those stretch goals, and make sure that there's more gelatinous cube soap in the world. Now, last question for you, because we're getting real close to time here.
Yep.
Where can we find you to follow you and learn more?
Yeah, so you can find me, mostly I am on Instagram, and I'm starting to build up my TikTok as well. So my Instagram is @PureAlchemySoaps. And then my TikTok, I believe, is also @PureAlchemySoaps. But that part I can't remember.
Awesome.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
And drop it in the chat. That'd be great.
It is.
Well, thank you so much for talking, Cassie. It's always like the hour passes so fast when I'm hanging out with you. But thank you for all of your energy and what you put out into the world, and bring RPGs and soap and cleanliness and fun to all you do. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for helping me out, and I look forward to doing a lot more with you in the future.
Yay! All right, REM PCs, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Last time on Shadowrun Emerald Glitch, our runners have had some conflict with the director in Billy Berserker's new movie. Why won't he just hand over the script to the runners? Where is the original Billy camera dude? Who is this mysterious sniper in Mr. Bell's roost? Join us for part 3 of the sequel trilogy in the next episode of Shadowrun 6th World Emerald Glitch, coming up next. Don't forget that we have a wonderful giveaway of a customized character soap set from Pure Alchemy Soaps that you saw us get to build today. You get to build one of your very own. So thank you so much to head alchemist Cassi for donating such a great prize. Enter to win by typing #REMPC in the chat, and you can get additional entries to win by going to our donation page at www.remalternus.com/Nguyen or patreon.com/remalternus. All donations help us to pay our cast and crew and keep producing content. And our biggest donors can have a message read at the end of the episode by the Shadowrunner of their choice. So check it out. And did you know we have more shows like Shadowrun Emerald Glitch on our Twitch channel? We stream 5 to 6 days a week on twitch.tv/Master of Rem, including the Dresden Files RPG, Shadowrun 5th Edition, Steampunk Fantasy D&D, and more. So check us out and give us a follow. Thank you all for joining. Next week, we're going to have returning guests from Mobius Worlds Publishing to talk about their new villains supplement for Prowlers and Paragons called Nocturne by Night, which launches on Kickstarter this coming Tuesday. So check the chat for the link so you can follow the project. See you next time, Rem PCs.
Hey Rem PCs, it's me Rem, and I play Shayloon on Like Clockwork every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central on twitch.tv/Master of Rem. If you are anything like me, I get very excited to know everything about my character's life and backstory. But have you ever thought about how they smell? I hadn't until I found Pure Alchemy soaps. And I have with me today my very own box of Shayloon. So let's check it out together. I've got my very own Shayloon Ayun little tag here in pretty handwriting. That's so nice. Now Shayloon is a lawful good. Ooh, it's minty. Gnome. There it is. Ooh, like maybe a little floral, a little rosy. And the last is she's a wizard. Harry. Oh, that's nice. It's got like a more spicy, like a patchouli. So let's give a whiff all together of what makes up a Shayloon. So lawful good, gnome, wizard. Oh, that's really nice. These are handmade and custom to your favorite character. And when you become as obsessed as I am, you can also get liquid soap potions of haste, health, and mana, or potions of prevent disease, or what muggles call hand sanitizer. Seriously, go check them out at purealchemysoaps.etsy.com and start loading your coin pouch because they have a new gelatinous cube soap Kickstarter coming soon. Don't miss it.